Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, I can't tell if she's interested in me or if she's just being friendly? You analyze her texts over and over, replay your conversations in your mind, and yet something inside you still feels both hopeful and uncertain. What if I told you there's one subtle behavior that reveals almost everything? When she does this, she's already emotionally invested in you. Before we go any further, make sure to like this video and subscribe. It helps me reach more men who are tired of guessing and ready to truly understand. Now, pay close attention. Women rarely express exactly how they feel in the beginning. Instead, they communicate through signals, and those signals aren't loud or obvious. They're quiet, instinctive, and deeply psychological. When a woman is genuinely attracted to you, her emotional defenses begin to shift. You'll notice it not through her words, but through the way her energy changes whenever she's around you. It's as though the emotional walls she's built from years of experiences and disappointments slowly begin to come down. She starts revealing her authentic self little by little, often without even realizing she's doing it. The biggest mistake most men make is looking for words instead of patterns. A woman's attraction is rarely announced. It quietly reveals itself through subtle behaviors. She begins to mirror your tone, match your rhythm, and even use your favorite phrases. It's subconscious mimicry, a neurological sign of connection. When she does this, she's no longer putting on a front. She's beginning to align with you. Her nervous system feels safe in your presence. Think about that. For a woman, safety isn't simply about physical protection, it's about emotional attunement. If she laughs more naturally, maintains soft but lingering eye contact, or starts sharing small personal details about herself, she's already becoming emotionally attached, not physically, but emotionally. Her guard is slowly coming down, and that's the moment most men either completely miss or accidentally ruin because they rush in seeking validation or they become doubtful and pull away. But the reality is, once she begins emotionally synchronizing with you, she's already made an internal decision. She may not admit it, she might even resist those feelings, but deep inside she's thinking, this man feels different. So the real question isn't whether she likes you, the question is whether you can recognize the signs before you push them away. And once you learn how to do that, everything about the way you connect with women begins to change. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most men destroy attraction not because a woman loses interest, but because they don't realize how delicate that emotional spark really is. When she starts developing feelings for you, she doesn't necessarily want to. She actually fears it. Attraction for women isn't something they consciously choose. It's an emotional surrender. And surrender only happens when she senses strength, stability, and a touch of unpredictability, all held in the right balance. When she does that one thing, leans in just a little closer than necessary, lingers even after the conversation should have ended, or gives you a look that lasts just a fraction longer than expected, she's testing your energy. She's not silently asking, do you like me? She's really asking, are you grounded enough for me to lower my guard? Because women don't fall for men they simply understand. They fall for men they genuinely feel. This is where most men make the wrong move. You begin explaining yourself, oversharing, and trying to prove you're a good guy. But to her nervous system, that often comes across as emotional instability. You're trying to earn something that was already being freely offered. Attraction fades the moment she senses that you need it. What she truly wants is to feel secure within your uncertainty, to experience your calmness, even when her emotions shift and fluctuate. As a woman's interest grows deeper, she becomes emotionally transparent in subtle ways. She'll begin finding little excuses to interact with you, asking small, unnecessary questions, or playfully challenging your opinions. It's not random. It's her subconscious inviting emotional intimacy. She wants to see whether you can meet her in the place where she hides emotionally. If you respond to that playful energy with calm confidence, not arrogance, not emotional distance, she feels understood rather than judged. And that's when she truly begins to bond. Because real connection isn't built through intensity, it's built through the consistency of your presence. You don't need to chase her, you simply need to stay centered while she chooses to take a step closer. You see, women don't fall for the words you say. They fall for the way you make them feel when you say nothing. That quiet confidence, that grounded silence. It's what her instincts are drawn to. She's not attracted to validation. She's attracted to stability. So when she starts giving you her energy, her attention, her warmth, her curiosity, don't overwhelm it. Don't overanalyze it. Let it breathe. That's how you keep her investing. That's how you transform fleeting attraction into a lasting emotional connection. Let's be completely honest for a moment. You can't force a woman to love you. You can only become the kind of man her emotions feel safe loving. That's the truth most people never tell you. Real attraction isn't built through tricks or games. It's built through emotional gravity. And that gravity develops when you stop trying to impress her and start embodying calm, masculine certainty. When she's interested in you, she doesn't need grand gestures. She simply wants to experience your grounded presence. That means your tone, your eye contact, your silence. They all communicate something far deeper than words ever could. If she's giving you her attention, she's quietly asking herself, can this man handle my emotions without losing himself? If the answer is yes, her attraction grows stronger. If the answer is no, if she notices your energy changing based on her reactions, her instincts begin to pull away. You see, women often subconsciously look for emotional strength, not physical strength, but emotional steadiness. They'll throw small challenges your way, not to hurt you, but to reassure themselves that you're not emotionally fragile. She might tease you, question your intentions, or become a little distant after showing interest. Most men panic and start chasing even harder, but that's exactly when you should do the opposite. Take a breath, stay grounded, and allow her to come back because she often will. If she senses that your self-worth doesn't depend on her approval, something inside her begins to change. You stop being just another guy and become the emotional anchor she never realized she needed. She starts opening up more deeply. Her stories become more personal. Her voice softens and she begins to reflect your composure. That's not a coincidence. That's emotional bonding. She's saying without words, I trust you with my truth. And here's the key. When she begins to trust you emotionally, attraction gradually turns into attachment. That's when you stop being an option and start becoming a constant presence in her mind. Even when you're not around, she'll think about you, not because of what you did, but because of how she felt when you were calm, confident, and genuine. That's the secret most men never discover. You don't win a woman's heart by chasing her energy. You win it by mastering your own. Now here's where it goes even deeper, because when she's already into you, her behavior can become surprisingly paradoxical. She might seem colder, pull away, or suddenly become unpredictable, and that confuses most men. They assume she's losing interest, but in reality, she's protecting herself. You've touched something emotional inside her that she never expected, and her mind begins battling her heart. Attraction awakens vulnerability, and vulnerability can be frightening for women who have been hurt before. This is where your response determines everything. If you start chasing, texting more, asking what's wrong, or constantly over-explaining, you confirm her fear that your calmness was conditional. But if you remain steady, kind, and unshaken, something incredibly powerful happens. She begins to settle back into your energy, because a woman's deepest desire isn't simply to be pursued. It's to trust the man who doesn't lose his center when she unknowingly tests it. Understand this. When she's emotionally attached, she'll sometimes create small emotional storms just to make sure you won't abandon her when they arrive. Not consciously, but instinctively. She wants to feel that you can hold space for both her softness and her chaos. The men who fail this test are the ones who take her reactions personally. They become defensive, distant, or desperate. But the man who passes, he listens, he breathes, and he responds instead of reacting. That's the moment her feminine instinct fully gives in. She begins to experience your presence as a place of safety. She'll lean on you emotionally without even realizing it, sharing things she's never revealed to anyone else, asking for your opinion, and appreciating your silence. She stops putting on a performance around you. That's when you know she's genuinely invested. But don't confuse her openness with permission to become complacent. The masculine presence she's attracted to is a living, breathing energy. It has to be maintained. You maintain it by staying purposeful, by keeping your attention on growth rather than only on her affection. Because the moment your identity depends on her validation, the polarity fades. You want her respect, not only her affection. And respect is earned when you embody consistency despite her inconsistency. That's what creates devotion. So if she's acting unpredictably, don't panic. It's not rejection, it's emotional calibration. She's seeing whether your strength is genuine. Stay calm, stay centered, and she'll move closer every time. Now let's talk about the part no one prepares you for. What happens after she's emotionally connected to you? Because when she's truly invested in you, something profound takes place in her psychology. She begins to mirror not only your behavior, but also your emotional rhythm. If you're grounded, she feels at peace. If you're chaotic, she feels unsafe. That's how powerful your influence becomes. Once her guard comes down, when a woman has chosen you emotionally, she starts investing without being asked. She'll begin remembering the small details about your life, making space for you in her routines, and quietly aligning her priorities with yours. You won't have to beg for effort. She'll offer it willingly. But this is where the real challenge begins, because the more deeply she feels, the more she fears losing that feeling. That's when she becomes sensitive to your distance, your tone, and your silence. Most men mistake that sensitivity for neediness, but it isn't. It's emotional attunement. When a woman truly cares, she feels your emotional state even when you're not speaking. So if your energy shifts, she'll notice. If you become distracted, she'll sense it. That's why your calm confidence matters now more than ever. Because when she's emotionally invested, she needs consistency, not perfection. She needs to feel that your stability isn't dependent on circumstances. This is the stage where relationships either deepen or fall apart. If you stay present, communicate honestly, and lead with emotional composure, she'll become even more deeply attached. She'll begin to trust your leadership, not in a controlling way, but in a grounded, masculine way that allows her to relax. She'll start expressing her affection more openly, and the connection will feel effortless. But if you begin taking her effort for granted, or if you allow insecurity to creep in, she'll subconsciously pull back because her instinct tells her something isn't right. Women don't leave when they stop loving you. They leave when they stop feeling safe loving you. That's why your inner peace is your greatest form of attraction. So if she's making an effort, if she's softening around you, if her tone changes when she speaks to you, recognize it for what it is. That's not just attraction. That's emotional surrender. You've already won her heart. Now your only responsibility is to protect the part of yourself that made her fall for you. Here's the truth that separates men who keep a woman's devotion from those who only ever experience it briefly. Real attraction isn't about winning her attention. It's about sustaining her respect. Once she's emotionally invested, her instincts are constantly looking for one thing. Is this man still the person he appeared to be? And if your words, energy, and actions remain aligned, she feels safe continuing to love you. But if your consistency begins to break, her heart starts building walls again. When a woman reaches that point, when she gives herself to you emotionally, it's no small thing. It means she's decided, consciously or unconsciously, to let you influence her emotional world. She'll begin mirroring your energy, relying on your stability, and tying her emotional state to your presence. That's the level of trust you hold in your hands. So ask yourself honestly, what kind of man are you teaching her nervous system to associate with love? Calm or chaos? Certainty or confusion? Because here's what most men never realize. Once you've earned her emotional trust, you become the emotional environment she carries within herself. Your presence remains with her, even when you're gone. That's why emotional discipline matters. You don't have to be perfect. You simply need to be steady. You need to stay rooted in purpose, passion, and principle. That's what keeps her drawn to your energy. And yes, she'll still test you, not because she doubts you, but because she wants reassurance that your strength wasn't temporary. Every woman, consciously or unconsciously, checks whether the man she loves is still safe to surrender to. When you respond to those moments with calm leadership instead of ego, she falls even deeper because she sees something rare, a man who doesn't just demand respect, but she embodies it. So, if she's revealing that quiet vulnerability around you, if her voice softens when she speaks with you, if she begins allowing her emotions to surface without fear, that's it. You already have her. But what determines whether you keep her isn't charm or dominance. It's emotional integrity. It's showing her that your strength isn't a performance. It's a way of being. Remember this, women don't stay for excitement. They stay for a sense of peace that feels like home. Be that peace. Guard it. Nurture it. Because when a man truly masters his calm, he becomes unforgettable.